Good evening, everyone. So I'm here to share a story about Shiva and the sports of God. So for those of you who do not know, Shiva is a legend god in India, and this happens in a village way back in time. So in those times, there was somebody called a town crier who would carry messages to the people of the town. So these are the uh, characters in my story. For those of you who do not know. So, getting on with the story. So, in this village, there was okay, and a zamindar is a person who's a landlord who owns a lot of lands, and he gets his funds from the crops, and he employs a lot of people, and he's supposed to be like the chieftain of the village. He's the be all of that village. Okay, so getting into my story, in a certain village, there was a zamindar. He was a very wealthy man, but very conceited. He was so conceited that he thought he was God himself. And he had the audacity to employ a town crier, send messages to the people of the village saying that in all of the temples henceforth I will be worshipped and not Shiva. Whatever devotions, whatever pujas, whatever chants will be in my honor and not Shiva. The people were baffled, but terror, because he had armed people who would just go and beat them up black and blue if they ever denied this law. They had no choice. The people were afraid. And they even stopped wearing this holy ash that symbolizes Shiva's blessing. And instead of saying Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, they said Om Namah Saukar, Om Namah Saukar. Saukar is a term that is used in the Kannada language in the village, which means like the richest person. So just imagine he just really got into the fabric of the town, and he was the god and the provider and the chieftain of the village. In the meanwhile, Lord Shiva himself in his abode was watching all this in all composure. And he thought to himself, this man needs to be taught a lesson. Okay, let me take my time. And one day, when he was all in all, he was so immersed in his way of life and he enjoyed his privileges and he was so conceited and uh, just fattened up by his way of living. Shiva decided now it was time to descend down to earth. So he disguised himself like a holy man, a normal holy sage, and he walked down the streets singing chants and praises of Shiva. What do you think would have happened? The town criers, the armed men, they all came and bashed this poor old man, trying to soften him up. There comes a zamindar. Padmash, who do you think you are talking about? Shiva? Who is Shiva? Show me your Shiva. I am the one who's providing for this village. Every morsel, every grain of food is from my lands. I am the God. I am the provider. I am paying for every single person in this village. And you dare not talk about Shiva. It is Saukar, and say Om Namah Saukar. This poor man, he had no choice, but it was God himself in disguise. He was beaten black and blue, and he decided to take rest in the temple for that night. In the meanwhile, this Saukar, like I said, he had lands to inspect. He calls to his wife and said, listen, tonight I will be late. I have to go and inspect the lands. You do not wait for me. All of you have dinner and go to bed. And so he goes into his land. In the meanwhile, just about when he's turning the corner of his home, our Shiva disguises himself as the replica of the Zamindar. Exact look-alike in voice, in mannerisms, in face, in expressions, attire. And he just walks into this man's house. The lady of the house is baffled. You just told me that I have a bad headache, and let me not talk to you now. Go set my bath, he says. So he spends, before that, he calls his men, like he has the servants at his call and says, Rama, Bhima, Soma, go to all the corners of the house. And you know what? I've heard that there are wily magicians who have come down in my disguise to steal this city, to steal the town. And they're going to rob us of our property and money. Be careful and watchful. And the moment you spot them, just get rid of them. Saying this, he goes into the home. He takes his own time. He has dinner. He chats with his wife. He has a long, warm bath and he relaxes. Now, the Saukar who actually went to inspect his lands comes back and he's really tired. And our guard keepers, they had cudgels, they had weapons, they had sickle. The moment they spotted the Saukar, look, there he is, he there. And they just didn't allow Saukar to open his mouth. You think you can deceive us by dressing yourself like a master? Here, you have it. They hit him. Here, here. And he's all hurt. Oh, no, that's me. It's me. It's Saukar. Stop it. Are you drunk? They just don't give him a chance. And he realizes maybe these people are drunk. I should come back in the evening when they are sobered down. He comes back and it's the same treatment that evening. This time he hears a voice from within the house. What is it that I hear? Who is it at the door? That voice sounds just like me. Who is it at the doors? This Saukar only knows that the voice is similar to him, but his men are unaware of it. Master, it's that magician that you were talking about. He's come again. What do we do? Just get rid of him. Send him back to his business. So they again beat him, and this poor man, every limb is sore and it's aching, bleeding down from his head. He drags himself to the temple and decides to rest there on the unpaved stone, on that hard stone for that night. For the first time in his life, he's sleeping there on that hard bed. He says, let me go to the village council next morning before sunrise, and I need to sort this out. There is somebody in my guys, I think there is foul play. So the next day, there's a village council. So there's a village panchayat or a council in any village. And before sunrise, he goes there. He wakes up. The council, please wake up. I'm in trouble. I need help. Okay, relax, cool down. What happened? So he narrates the whole incident. Come again? Did you say another Saukar at home? I hope you're not dreaming. Let me send a messenger home and try to find out if that's really true. So the village council sends a person from the village and goes and asks them to fetch the man in disguise there. And as Shiva, he's all composed and he's soft and he's all ready to face the incident, and he walks casually into the panchayat. Baffled. People are baffled. Exact replica. They look to him, they look towards Shiva. They look towards Saukar, they look towards Shiva. Every minute detail is similar. What do we do? Who is the real Saukar? People are just on their wits' end. How do we solve this problem? Nobody ever knew that it was the Lord Shiva himself in his disguise. So the real experienced villagers, so they suggested a test. You know what? If it is the real master of the house, he would know every detail in that house. Why not ask them separately about the sheep, about the cows, about the wealth he has, about the money he stored in his home? All right. So the council decides to test both of them. And he calls our Saukar and says, come here, gentlemen. Tell me, how many sheep do you have? So he says a number. How many cows do you have? So he quotes a number. And how much money do you have saved at home? He quotes a number. So it's 5,000 rupees. All right, you may go. And then the council calls Shiva and he asks, and he repeats the same number. But here, there's one small difference. He says, council, there is 5,000 rupees 35 5,000 rupees, 35 annas, and a few more. He says the exact details, and he even quotes the denomination of the notes, which our Saukar couldn't do it. So the village council says, okay, go to his place, get that box, and let's open it out in front of the whole townspeople. They open it, and Shiva was right. So a poor man again is beaten black and blue, and he's sent out of the uh, ramparts of the town. And this time he's just staggering back, and he's going there, and he's like, oh my god, what have I ever done? Why I have to face something like this? And he's just lying down and resting. And Shiva is watching him, he's observing him, and says, okay, now that you're in trouble, you're thinking about me. All right. So he lets him wane and while for a bit, and then he decides to go back as the same holy man that he was disguised, and says, okay, gentleman, what's bothering you? Why are you worried? How do I help you? He says, oh, you're here, that holy man. I'm so sorry. I got you beaten up 2 days ago. And now there is somebody in my disguise at home claiming to be that it is Saukar himself. I've even placed the case in the village council, and he is one. Now, what do I do? I have nowhere to go. I'm homeless. So Shiva says, so you remember the holy man that you bet up? And what is it that actually got you to do that? It's your conceit, your ego, that you thought, you are the provider and the be all of it. And he repents for his misdeeds. And he says, so Shiva says, it's all God's sports. So just go back home and everything will be normal. Says, how can that be, Shiva? There is somebody there instead of me. You just don't understand. You don't get it. So Shiva says, just go. Just trust me. And remember that it is not you. It is the provider, and it's the mercy of the provider that you are who you are today. So with a little bit of doubt in his mind, he walks back home. This time he's all healed. He's healed in and he's healed out of his physical bruises as well. So he walks in and everything is normal as usual. People are serving him. He's getting the whole respect. His wife is as before, attending to his needs. But only one thing has changed. They feel that he's mellowed down. And till date, it is a mystery of what happened between the Saukar and the Shiva. Thank you.